Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room, present an idea, and instantly capture everyone's attention, while others, even with brilliant ideas, struggle to get anyone to listen? The difference isn't intelligence. It's not luck. It's not even the idea itself. The difference is how the idea is pitched. Think about the last time you saw someone present something that truly excited you. Maybe it was a TED Talk. Maybe it was a founder pitching to investors. Maybe it was a colleague in a meeting. What did they do differently? How did they make you care? In this audiobook, you'll discover how powerful pitches are created, how successful entrepreneurs capture attention, and how you can present your ideas with confidence, clarity, and influence. You'll learn the psychology behind why people say yes, and what makes them lean in and listen. You'll understand the subtle techniques that separate memorable presentations from forgettable ones. If you're interested in business psychology and communication skills, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who loves learning, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful insights. Let's begin. Every successful company you admire started with an idea, a single thought in someone's mind. Amazon started with an idea about selling books online. Apple started with an idea about making computers accessible. Tesla started with an idea about electric cars being cool. But ideas alone don't build companies. Ideas only succeed when people believe in them, when investors believe enough to write checks, when employees believe enough to join the journey, when customers believe enough to spend their money. And how do you make people believe? Through pitching. Pitching is the skill of turning ideas into opportunities. It's the bridge between vision and reality. Think about all the situations in your life where pitching matters. The startup founder standing in front of investors with just 10 minutes to convince them. The employee presenting a new project idea to skeptical leadership. The freelancer meeting a potential client who's talked to a dozen other people. The creator pitching a collaboration to someone they admire. Every single one of these situations requires the ability to present ideas in a way that makes people want to say yes. The good news is that pitching is not a talent you're born with. It's a skill you can learn. Like driving a car or learning to cook, it improves with practice, feedback, and the right framework. Let's start with the foundation of every great pitch. Attention. You have only seconds. Literally seconds. Research shows that people form opinions about new people and new ideas within the first few seconds of exposure. The human brain is bombarded with millions of pieces of information every day. It can't process everything, so it uses filters. The attention filter works on 3 levels. First, surprise. Something unexpected that breaks the pattern. Second, relevance. Something connected to the listener's needs or interests. Third, emotion. Something that makes them feel. When you start your pitch, you need to hit at least one of these. If you don't, people will mentally check out before you even get to the good part. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're pitching a new productivity app. You can say, I built an app that helps people organize their tasks. That's fine, but it's not memorable. Instead, you could say, did you know the average professional wastes 400 hours a year looking for lost documents? I built something that fixes that. See the difference? The first one states a fact. The second one creates surprise, connects to a real problem, and makes people feel the pain of wasted time. Your opening should always be powerful. A question that makes people think. A statement that shocks them. A story that touches them. Remember, you have seconds. Make them count. Once you've captured attention, the next challenge is keeping it. This is where frame control comes in. Frame control means you set the direction of the conversation. You decide what matters and what doesn't. You lead and others follow. Most people make a critical mistake when pitching. They rush. They dump all their information at once. They wait for questions and then chase those questions wherever they go. This loses control. A skilled pitcher does something different. They set the frame first. They establish the context. They say, before I get into the details, let me share why this matters. Or, there are 3 things you need to understand about what we're building. This tells the listener how to process the information. It puts you in charge. Confidence and authority play a huge role here. When you speak with confidence, when you maintain eye contact, when your body language is open and strong, People naturally trust you. This isn't magic. It's human psychology. We trust people who seem sure of themselves. So how do you maintain frame control? First, structure your pitch in advance. Know what comes first, second, and third. Second, when answering questions, don't get lost in them. Answer briefly. Then return to your structure. Third, if you don't know an answer, don't panic. Say, "That's an excellent question. I'll address that in a moment." Frame control isn't about dominating. It's about guiding the conversation in a productive direction. If this is resonating with you, take a moment to like this video. Now let's talk about something that shapes everything before you even speak. First impressions. People say first impressions are lasting impressions. This isn't just a saying. It's psychological fact. Research shows that within the first 7 seconds of meeting someone, people make 11 distinct judgments about them. 7 seconds. And everything after that is filtered through that initial judgment. So how do you make those 7 seconds work for you? First, your body language. How do you stand? How do you walk? Where do your eyes go? Walking straight. Shoulders back. Head up. Eyes confident. Second, your voice. How do you sound? Is there hesitation or certainty? Speak slowly. Speak clearly. Pronounce your words fully. Third, your energy. Are you excited? Are you positive? Is your energy contagious? People feel energy. If you're energetic, they become energetic. If you're nervous, they become uncomfortable. Let me tell you a story. There was a founder named James. He had a brilliant idea. He'd worked on it for 2 years. His pitch deck was perfect. He got a meeting with a top investor. James walked in. His hands were sweaty. He was visibly nervous. His handshake was weak. He sat down and started talking, but his voice lacked confidence. The investor listened for 5 minutes and said, "James, your idea is interesting, but you don't seem to believe in it yourself." The deal didn't happen. Contrast that with Sarah. Sarah's idea was actually less developed than James's, but when she walked into the meeting, her body language was confident. Her voice had conviction. Her eyes showed belief. The investor talked with her for 30 minutes. Then he said, "Sarah, I believe in you." She got the funding. First impression was the difference. So remember, no matter how good your idea is, if your first impression is weak, people will see your idea as weak too. Your first impression isn't just about you. It's about your idea. Now let's discuss the most powerful tool in any pitch. Story. Facts and figures are necessary. But facts and figures don't stick in people's minds. They don't touch people's hearts. Stories do. Stories connect. Stories transform. Think about the last movie you loved. You remember the story, the characters, the moments. But do you remember the news articles from that same year? Probably not. Why? Because stories encode differently in our brains. They connect to emotions. They make us feel. And when people feel, they act. So how do you use story in your pitch? First, frame the problem through story. Don't just say, "People have this problem." Tell the story of a real person struggling with it. Second, frame the solution through story. Don't just list features. Tell how someone used your solution and what changed for them. Third, frame the result through story. Show the transformation. Here's an example. Imagine you're pitching an education platform. You could say, "We've helped 10,000 students learn new skills." That's fine, but it's forgettable. Instead, you could tell a story. There was a young woman named Priya. She lived in a small town with no access to good teachers. She wanted to learn coding, but no one could teach her. Then she found our platform. She studied every night after work. 6 months later, she got a job as a developer at a major tech company. Today, she mentors others through our platform. Which one sticks? The numbers or Priya's story? Whenever possible, wrap your facts in stories. Give your data humanity. Connect your figures to feelings. Because people may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Great presenters share one remarkable quality. They never reveal everything at once. They create curiosity. They make people think. What happens next? Then what? How does it end? Our brains are wired this way. When we don't know something, we want to find out. When a question arises, we seek the answer. You can use the psychology in your pitch. Build points that create intrigue. When telling a story, pause at a critical moment. Say, but before I tell you what happened next, let me explain one more thing. Now they're leaning in. Now they're curious. Another technique is asking questions they can't answer. Do you know why 90% of startups fail in the first year? Now they need to know. Now they'll listen. If you're learning something new from this audiobook, share it with someone who wants to improve their communication skills. Confidence is the foundation of every great pitch. But confidence doesn't mean the absence of fear. Confidence means moving forward despite fear. Where does confidence come from? First, preparation. When you've done your homework, when you know your material inside and out, confidence naturally follows. Second, practice. The more you practice, the more confident you become. Practice in front of a mirror. Record yourself and listen. Practice with friends. Third, experience. Every pitch, successful or not, teaches you something, and every lesson makes you stronger. How do you project authority in your pitch? First, clarity. When you speak clearly without hesitation, people assume you know what you're talking about. Second, eye contact. Looking people in the eye communicates confidence. Third, knowledge. When you speak with facts and data, your words carry weight. Fourth, speaking less. Yes, speaking less. People who talk too much often reveal their insecurities. People who speak less, every word carries meaning. Handling objections is an art. When you pitch, people will raise questions, express doubts. This is normal. Actually, it's a good sign. It means they're engaged. So don't fear objections. See them as opportunities. First rule, don't interrupt. Let them finish. Second rule, don't take objections personally. They're not attacking you. They're trying to understand. Third rule, think before responding. Don't rush. Fourth rule, be honest. If you don't know something, don't make it up. Say, that's a great point. Let me research that and get back to you. Let me tell you a story about handling objections. A salesperson was meeting with a major client. The client said, "Your product is too expensive." The salesperson panicked. Immediately, he said, "We can offer a discount." The client realized there was room to negotiate. He pushed for an even lower price. The deal happened, but the salesperson's margin was tiny. Another salesperson heard the same objection. "Your product is too expensive." He smiled and said, "I understand, but do you know that our product saves you $200,000 a year? Over 5 years. It's actually the cheapest option you'll find." The client thought about it and agreed. The difference was in how the objection was framed. Learn to reframe objections. When someone says, "We don't have budget," you can say, "I understand, but would you agree that if something saves you money, it's not an expense, it's an investment?" When someone says, "We don't have time," you can say, "Exactly. That's why our solution exists. We save you time." If these ideas are valuable to you, subscribe to the channel for more insights about business and success. Now, let's talk about closing. The final part of your pitch, the most important part. You've captured attention. You've built connection. You've shown value. You've handled objections. Now it's time to close the deal. And this is where many people hesitate. They're afraid of hearing no. But if you don't ask, you won't receive. There are several ways to close. First, the direct close. Simply ask, "Shall we move forward?" Or, "Should I send over the contract?" Second, the alternative close. Give 2 options, both in your favor. Would you prefer the monthly plan or the annual plan? Third, the assumption close. Act as if the deal is already done. Ask, "When would you like to start?" Or, "What delivery date works best for you?" When you close, do it with confidence. No hesitation in your voice. Look them in the eye and ask. Then be quiet. This is crucial. After asking, stay silent. Whoever speaks first loses. If they're quiet, stay quiet. Let them think. If they say yes, celebrate. If they say no, don't despair. Ask, "What's holding you back? What could we do differently?" Every no teaches you something. Success stories are inspiring, but real learning comes from failure. Let me share a true story. A woman named Michelle started a company. She pitched to 30 investors. 29 said no. 29 times hearing no. Imagine how painful that must have been. But Michelle learned from every no. She refined her pitch each time. The 30th investor said yes. Today her company is worth millions. If she'd stopped after 29, she'd have nothing, but she kept going. Remember this. Every no brings you one step closer to yes. Don't stop. Learn and keep moving. We've covered so much together. How to capture attention. How to control the frame. Why first impressions matter. How to use story. How to build curiosity. How to project confidence and authority. How to handle objections. How to close. But the most important thing I want you to take away is this. All of these are just tools. The real magic is inside you. Your passion, your authenticity, your belief. People trust those who are real. People connect with those who understand them. People follow those who dare to be different. You have an idea. Maybe it's small right now. Maybe it's not perfect. But have the courage to bring it to the world. Because your idea could change someone's life. Your words could inspire someone. Your pitch could win someone's belief. A powerful idea can change the world. But an idea alone is never enough. The people who succeed are the ones who know how to present their ideas with confidence. They know how to capture attention. They know how to inspire belief. You can be one of those people. Starting today. Starting now. If this audiobook helped you see communication differently, like the video, share it with someone who would enjoy it, and subscribe for more powerful ideas about success and persuasion. And in the comments, tell me one thing you learned that you'll apply to your next pitch. Remember, every great pitch begins with one bold step. Take that step today, now. Thank you for listening.